Lance's clients know that he's always lying to you.
All right, welcome back to the latest episode of Game Day Glare. I'm Lance. I'm with E, and this is the podcast for sports videographers. How you doing, E?
Very good. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Been pretty busy, since our last episode down memory lane. Everything's going good. Baseball is wrapping up. Blue Jays are still in it. My Habs doing very, very well. So on the sports side, things are going good. And you? What about you? You got anything new and exciting coming up?
Not much. Just doing my thing on the YouTubes and just filming a little bit of sports. I haven't filmed lately in a while, but I'm filming soccer this Saturday. When this is out, I've already done it, but looking forward to it. I haven't filmed soccer since I left Australia, so it's been a while.
Oh wow!
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see if you still got it.
Exactly.
I'm sure you do. Well, I mean, you've been keeping busy with other sports anyway. So hey, listen.
Well, I did film a soccer school. I did film like drills and things like that. It's gonna be my first game.
I mean, I call soccer organized jogging. So hey, I mean, yeah, I'm sure you can make it happen. I'm not a huge soccer fan. I do appreciate the sport. Like it's a tough sport, but I don't really watch soccer. So no offense to all our soccer fans out there. I'm just kidding about the organized jogging.
The World Cup's coming to Canada, right?
Yeah, I know.
Canada, isn't it?
But it's like Canada and the United States. It's like they're sharing it, right?
And Mexico.
So it's a North American World Cup.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So we're not going to see it here, by the way, just so that in case you were getting excited, like it's in Toronto and Vancouver.
Okay. Well, actually, you know what? I have to go for a shoot next week in Toronto. You never know. I mean, Toronto's only a quick car ride, or like I was telling you, maybe even a train ride away.
See? Yeah. You're in your trains.
All right. So let's talk about today's subject. We want to kind of pull the curtain back on what it's like running a business, running a sports videography business, the wins, the losses, the tough times. So we kind of want to go through a bit what it's like behind the scenes, because yes, you see sports on TV. Yes, you see the highlights on Instagram or on your socials or on YouTube and that, but that's not always the case. It should be a very easy job. You would think that you get to go to these sporting events, meet athletes, be in these prime locations, but it's not. There's a lot of headaches. There's a lot of red tape. So we're just going to try and talk about how to maneuver through some of those obstacles and how to kind of come out on the winning end, right?
Yes, good idea. Because I'm always struggling with that stuff. So please help me.
I'm still struggling. It's not just press record, show up, press record, and go. You need a plan. You need to know what's going on. So I think the first thing, honestly, is it's all about the pre-production when you have a company. So it's either getting that. Well, first of all, actually, I'll back up even further. First of all, it's getting that client, and getting trust from the client. So I think when you are starting off and you're doing sports videography, that you're going to have to work for free probably at first. You're going to have to kind of build up some sort of resume and have something to show clients that makes it attractive for why they want to work with you. And now that's, it's challenging in its own, but if it's something you really want to do, then it's really worth it. And I find it really rewarding if you do, go out to your local sporting event, your local, hometown team, and offer some free services there, because it's only going to make you better. And even if you're just editing for yourself at the beginning, like you can contact the team and offer them some free videos and stuff like that. But I would even just start off for myself. How would you start that off? Eh?
Yeah, well, I think it's a melting pot of what you just said, because when people say work for free, it's kind of
sounds bad, eh? It sounds bad when you say it.
Well, it sounds like you're working for free for them, when in reality, that's not what it's about. It's about working for yourself. So you're not really working for free. You're just working for yourself. So you're building your portfolio. You're getting experience. You're just practice. It's like a practice run where you can actually deal with a client, see how it goes, see how what you needed to prepare more, what you needed to, in terms of like the relationship with the clients, what you should sort of propose from the start, how you should handle approvals, all it's kind of a trial run for all of that. And most importantly, it allows you to film, get better at filming, edit, get better at editing, and then use the result, the video, for your portfolio. So it's not really working for free. It's just working on your business, working on your craft. Because if you're not doing that, um, what are you doing? You're just sitting at home looking, watching your camera collect dust on the shelf, and waiting for someone to magically feel the need to pay you to film something. Like, it might happen because you have an uncle somewhere that wants you to film something, but most of the time you'll make network and connections through being on the field and filming and posting videos on social media and tagging people. So if you're not doing that to begin with, um, yeah, it's not the chicken or the egg here. Like, you definitely need to start filming and editing before you get clients. Like, it's not going to be clients first. So yeah, I don't think it's really working for free. It's just working on the business basically. But and once you get clients, then yeah, you can go from there. And even then, like, I think, like, for me anyway, like, the first clients, um most likely when you're starting, they're not going to be clients that are already doing video, or not that much. And if they are doing it, they're probably doing it themselves, and they're not videographers, so it probably looks like crap. And they're starting to think that it might be worth paying someone to do it. Because if a company is already, or a club, a team, a school, whatever, is already paying someone to produce videos for them, the chances of them moving away from that videographer to go towards a green, new videographer that's never had a client before are very unlikely. Usually it's the other way around. So your sort of client that you should go after is the soccer team, the school, the whatever, that probably has a low budget, or just like doesn't have enough fans or revenues to hire someone. So they've been doing everything internally, or they haven't been doing anything at all, and now they're starting to put some money aside for that stuff, and they're looking for someone that's not going to be crazy expensive. And that's another way of working on your business, is getting your first client and being able to say we worked for them and all that sort of stuff. And now those practice runs become a bit more real, because it's actually real. It's probably not the money that you wanted, but it's some money. So it's better than nothing, and it's going in the right direction. And from there, you move on to bigger clients, because now you have enough experience that those bigger clients can look at your work and see it potentially as better than what they're getting right now. So yeah, it's all a progression.
I like how you said, like, when you're starting with a new client, that because it made me realize that you grow with your clients. Especially when you're new and your client's new and they don't have video too, you're learning together. Like, you got to come prepared, and you got to work. I find, like, all the prep work. We'll talk about that soon, but the prep work really helps. But you grow with your clients. You find out what your clients actually looking for, because a lot of people, especially in this industry, don't really know what they want until they see something. And the more you work with someone, the more you kind of feel what they're looking for. They kind of feel what you're willing to offer, what your style is, and you kind of work it together. And the longer you work with a company, with a team, you're going to have less revisions, faster turnover time, because you're going to know what each brings and what each person wants at the end result. And I've worked with multiple sports teams, and I don't edit the same way for every sports team, because I know kind of after a while what they're looking for. And it saves my process too. It doesn't always have to be the way that I want the video. Sometimes I make the video the way the client wants it, and it gets faster approvals, and they're happy. And at the end of the day, that's kind of why I'm getting paid, is I got to make sure that I'm delivering for my client. Yes, there's a bit of artistic and creativity that I do bring to it, but sometimes you got to kind of leave that aside if you want to make your client happy, if you want something improved faster. It's not always ideal for your ego, especially, but it's all part of being a professional, having your own company. At the end of the day, you want your client to be happy with the video, even if sometimes maybe there's something in it that you don't think was necessary or you don't agree with.
True. So now that we got a client, what's the next step?
I'm honestly on pre-production. I'm very big on the pre-production part. So, I'll sit with my client. I'll ask them, what is it that you guys like? What is it you're looking for? I'm going to bring some examples also. And when I'm going into that first shoot, I already have an idea of what I want to pull off based on what we've spoken about. So, like, your first meeting with them, say after, really try and get a sense of who they are, what they want to show. If it's just like quick highlights or awesome plays, or is it more storytelling? Figure that out. So when you go, you have a game plan, because when you show up and you know that you're prepared, you've already thought about the majority of stuff that's going to happen, it's going to make your shoot a lot easier.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think also this probably applies more to a videographer that is just starting, so that you don't really have like a defined style that you've been hired for. Because the flip side of what you just said is someone that's been there for a while, has a portfolio, and then when you get a new client, most often than not, more often than not, they pick you because they liked one of your videos, or they just like your style overall, and what they want is for you to recreate that, but with their content. So they're gunning for you for a specific look, a specific style, a specific sort of editing technique, and that's what they want. So when you get to that point, which might not happen, like you can, even though you can be very good, you can be very generic as well, very flexible, and have a lot of variety in your work where there's not like a defined style, and that's very fine too. I'm probably leaning more in that category myself, to be honest. But yeah, I think if you the type of person that gets hired for a specific style, then it's easy, because they know exactly what you bring, and that's what they're looking for, and that's what they want. So that conversation that you just mentioned is probably a lot easier and a lot shorter.
Well, yeah, for sure. Because if you're getting hired for your style, right, you already have a pre-production plan in your head. If you always shoot kind of the same way and do similar edits, you already know what shots you need. You already know what you're looking for as a videographer. So that is an advantage. There's two ways. Either some clients want it their way, some clients trust you. So you got to figure out where you fit. So like also in pre-production phase before you actually start shooting, there's some prep work. You got to figure out what gear you need to bring, and I don't suggest this. Don't go and buy gear for a shoot. A lot of videographers get caught in that hole where they think like, I need a better camera, I need a better lens, I need this, I need that. No, go out at first and start shooting with what you have. Get paid, and then maybe upgrade your gear if needed. Yes, a lot of us are gearheads. A lot of us are always looking to buy the newest thing, but I feel like that's a rabbit hole that videographers get trapped down, because there's nothing worse than spending money to go and film an event, so that way when you get paid, you just pay off the stuff that you bought. So start trying to work with what you have. Okay, and then with what you have is, make sure your gear's ready. Like those batteries are all charged. You've tested everything before you actually go, because when you're on the job, there will be hiccups. You will have challenges, and that's only part of it is the gear. There's a lot of logistics too. You got to figure out transport. Sometimes, depending on what you get hired for, not everything is local. You might have to take a train, like I said before, or drive, or even a plane, hotel rentals. You got to worry about luggage, carry on. All these little things are constantly chewing away at you when running a business. And you're thinking like, I'm just thinking about pressing record and getting my edit, but there's a lot more to running a business than that. I feel like the video part is the easy part. It's everything else that's a lot harder to manage when running a business. Because you gotta forfeit some expenses too, just to get to these games or get to these events. There's meals, there's Sometimes you got to update your Google Drive and get more storage space for a client so you can send files and all that. There's all these little things that are constantly weighing on you when you have a business.
Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, I think it's all part of yeah. I mean, when you're an employee, you don't well, you do have to deal with some of that, but maybe not the expense part. But the logistics are the same for everyone. But yeah, the freedom of being a freelance and working with multiple clients and making your own schedule and all that sort of stuff comes with responsibilities, and those responsibilities are that you have to cover all the expenses and you have to organize everything yourself. So it's a give, as they say.
Yeah. So, sometimes it's a give, give. Sometimes it's a take, take. Like there's issues when you go to sporting events. Sometimes you go to get, you think something simple as just getting your credentials. It should be very simple. But E and I have been in the situation where you show up to the credential booth and they have no idea who you are, and then you got to call your contact and your contact's not answering the phone, and then it's a delay, and then it kind of throws a curveball, and then sometimes your clients, you get there and they kind of change the idea of what it is you were going to shoot or what they hired you for because something in upper management has changed for them. And then the biggest issue is, what if the weather changes? If you're outside at a soccer game or a football game or baseball and there's rain delays or crazy wind and all, these are all things that are out of your control, but you somehow have to learn how to manage. So keeping your cool and you know what, going with the flow too and being flexible is a big part of being a business owner, because you have to still try to deliver, but make sure that you're not stressing out. Make sure your client sees that you're handling these curveballs properly, because they will appreciate your calmness and your flexibility too. Don't just go in there and being set like, "Hey, I'm hired to do this. This is what I'm here for." Things change. You can always discuss after about maybe if you're doing extra work, or if something changed, maybe you can change your price a bit, stuff like that. But stay flexible, because things happen all the time.
So gear wise, like what do you do to kind of try to prevent um do you double up on certain things? Do you do like when you say you prep, like other than just making sure you get the lens, the camera, the battery, like do you do anything extra just because there's no you can't basically you can't mess it up?
I will have a second camera with me on most shoots, just in case, because your biggest fear is, what happens if I'm filming football and a guy smashes into me and messes up my camera, or some freak accident, but I'm still there and I'm still expected to deliver. So having a backup camera is a bonus. It's not a must have, but I really highly recommend that. And have other ways that you can do stuff. So say for some reason, if my mic system is bugging, well, I know that there's a backup where I can record right on the mic, or I could plug a lapel into my XLR handle. There have different ways to solve problems, and that's something that you learn with experience, because you will run into multiple problems. Like I had it one time where I remember I was using a camera a while ago. Well, this is years ago, and all of a sudden the viewfinder stopped working. And I was screwed. And I'm like, okay, and I only have one camera. The viewfinder's not working. So I had to plug in through a HDMI into another monitor, borrow a monitor of somebody, and that was my viewfinder, which is fine. But at the time, I didn't have an external viewfinder. So something silly like that. Things happen, and they're out of your control. So just when things happen, try and come up with a backup plan and try and problem solve to still make it an enjoyable experience, because it's really, really tough. Especially like, I was on a shoot the other day, and I was telling E off cam where I had my XLR audio handle, and for some reason my DJI mics were going on the same audio channel. So I was supposed to have 4 channels, 2 for the shotgun mic and 1 channel each for the receivers, and it just wasn't working. And I tried a couple things, it wasn't working. So I took off the auto handle and I plugged straight into my camera, and everything was fine. So be flexible and find solutions, because there is a solution out there. It's just, you have to work around it sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And when it comes to like the post game, is there like a ritual or something that you always do to make sure that the clients always get what they need, whether it's the footage or the edit?
Okay, so post game, first of all, I always have a little panic attack, an internal panic attack. I'm always afraid that I didn't do something right. Like, was the audio good enough? Was the shot properly exposed? Was that little light that I saw in the background that I caught at the end of the interview, was that messing up the shot? So the first thing I'm doing, man, is I'm putting those cards in. I'm backing up that footage as soon as possible, and I'm giving myself peace of mind by checking those scenes as fast as I can to make sure everything is okay. Because after a shoot, I'm constantly, on the drive home, I'm overthinking it because I want it to be perfect because it has my name on it. Like it's my work. I want it to be as good as it can for the client. Now, for the client, it all depends on what their needs are. If there's something they need right away and you tell them you're going to get it right away, well, you better do it because they're expecting that, And I've had, so for sports, we've done melts where it's like, hey, we just need some quick highlights right away for our web team. So you put it in your car right away. You grab the shots that you flagged. I'll back them all up. I'll give them that and they'll put it on the web. And then after the next day, I'll be able to go and put together my edit for them normally. That's how it's worked in the past. Sometimes too, after a sporting event, you'll have to do player interviews, right? Those they want right away because having that scrum the next day or 24 hours later is no good. They don't care about that. But it's a pretty straightforward clip. You know what question you ask. You and whoever you're working with, the team, you say, this is the question we asked. Okay, which answer do you want? Boom, you give it to them, and the web department takes that. But you do have to be fast, and it's hard editing under that pressure because you're trying to deliver. Your client's waiting for it. They want it yesterday. The second you stop pressing record, they expect to have that clip. But theoretically, you got to put in your computer, you got to export it, probably got to throw a quick color grade on there to make it look decent. So it does take time, but I always try to deliver. Like if I tell them, hey, it's going to take half hour, well, I'm doing it in 20 minutes. So I'm always trying to deliver a little faster than I tell them. So I always kind of stretch how long it's going to take me. That's one of my little tricks.
Right. So all the clients, Lance's clients, know that he's always lying to you.
Yeah, E is the opposite. E always tells me he's going to be here at like 10:30, 11, and I know it's like really 11:15.
No, well, it's not a lie.
It's not a lot. Except for today. Today he was just waiting for me. He's like, "Come on, man, let's go." What about you? Like with your fast turnarounds and stuff, what do you do once your event's done and you have those cards? What's your process?
To be honest, I don't do that much of that type of work, so I don't really have a process per se. But yeah, just if they want, usually if I do have to turn around something quickly, it's probably a melt. So it's just getting home, because trying to do it from the venue with the internet and smaller computers probably not going to be that much faster than driving home if I'm like 15 minutes away. But so yeah, just getting home, smashing it, just putting all the, like, obviously filming and like putting like my hand or filming the ground every time there's a good clip helps me a lot. So that way, when I get into the edit, I can just go straight for the clips before, and just put them on a timeline. Bing bang boom. Do like a little adjustment, color wise. That's probably gonna be just like across the board, not just like not individual clips, and export that and send it to the client via G Drive. So that's usually when I do have to do something like super quick. It's usually that. I've done like player rivals videos that have to be done like before the game starts. Uh, those are done obviously on site very quickly, but they're pretty simple as well because every player just arrives from the exact same spot and just walks in front of your camera. So it's just a matter of getting different framing so that you can cut from one to the other and make it fun to watch and dynamic. So that's pretty easy to edit, especially if you picked your music ahead of time and it's already there on your timeline. All you need to do is put enough clips in there to fill that 40-second or whatever you made. So so yeah, it's just if there is like a creative edit to be done, having the music sort of ready to go, having whatever is going to be, whether it's a slide at the end or a call to action at some point, like anything that you know is going to be in there that you already have, just put it there already. Have your project set up so that when you get to the edit, like it's one less thing to worry about and one less chance of forgetting something important as well. So yeah, preparation as much as possible, and then go, go, go.
Well, honestly, that's what it is, right? It's go, go, go. And the trick is your clients don't see everything you've gone through, They don't see for some reason if you had a card failed during the thing, or if you're
Mm.
had some overheating issues and that. You just make sure that you deliver. Now, other things that clients don't see is they don't see, like, you mentioned you go home and you'll export those clips and all that, right? Sometimes you do have an edit that's due. They don't realize that 3 a.m. edit that's going on in the hotel room or your house, because you can't really do it at the venue. Wi-Fi slow, these things slow you down. So sometimes I've done an edit at a venue, and then I'm trying to upload to my G drive, and it's slow as hell, and it's easier to just do it at home. So clients don't realize the extra work you're putting in, but you can include that extra work in your price too. So make sure you do that, because that's what you're there for, So calculate, like, hey, it costs so much for me to go and film this event, but add in the little things too, the late night edit. If someone needs something right away, and I know, like, I just had you just had a rough day filming a sporting event for 5 hours. Like, we're videographers. It's not as easy as it sounds. You have a backpack, sometimes you're crouching down, you're doing all these side positions, and that your body's sore, man. And then you got to rush, get back to your hotel or your house and bang out this edit. Make sure you're compensated properly for that work, because it's not just stand there, press record and go, And as a videographer and a small business owner, it's something you realize with time is you got to start charging accordingly, because don't just sell for the service, sell for the value of what you're giving them also. You might have a banger highlight that they're going to be using multiple times throughout the year on opening videos or web videos or player profiles and all that. So don't just look at it as if, like, I'm charging for this one event. If I'm just showing up to film an event and I'm handing over a card, no problem. This is my day rate. Here you go. Easy peasy. But 9 out of 10 times, that's not the case. So make sure when you are, starting to clients about money and that, you add in these factors, because there's a lot of things that clients don't realize that we do as videographers. Just after an event, I'll tell clients, like, listen, I'll keep it on my storage for 6 months after, in case you need it. Little things like that. But I'm charging for that. You're renting space off me.
Yeah, smart. Well, yeah, I think, and for me anyway, like, I'd much rather do the 3 a.m. edit and be done with it, because they want to post the video in the morning. So technically it becomes a 24-hour job, and I know for sure that I'm done. I'd much rather do that than have the filming on Tuesday, and then I edit something that they'll approve on Friday, but then they'll look at it Friday afternoon and say, "Oh, we'll get back to you on Monday with changes." And then Monday rolls along, there's changes, and then Tuesday there's an extra change, and then Wednesday there's a final change, and then so, like, it becomes like a 2-week exercise. Like, obviously you're not working on it full time for 2 weeks, but I'd much rather, like, not sleep and get it over with, invoiced and everything in 24 hours than drag it over like a 2-week period. So there are pros and cons to working overnight.
Well, for example, like, for one client, I'm doing TV spots, right? For them, and it's sports TV spots. So I know that I give my edit with the voiceover, all the graphics, all the stuff. I give it, and then they have a process. They have to give it to their coworkers, their marketing, whatever, and come back to me. So I know there's going to be changes. Now I just factor that into the price that I'm giving them, because I know, okay, this edit, let's add 3 revisions, how long the revisions will take me. Because you're not just sitting at your computer waiting all day for them to get back to you. When they get back to you, then you go and do the changes and you wait for the next round of revisions. But with clients, you can include in your price, like, hey, this project includes 1 revision. This project includes 2 revisions. Don't just leave it up to them to revise as much as possible.
So what happens if there's a third revision?
Well, then you charge extra. You tell them after the second revision is going to be an extra, I don't know, $300 for the revision or whatever. You have to put that line, because if not, some clients will just keep changing, and it's going to be a never-ending project. And by the time you're done with it, you're just going to be so excited to get rid of that project. Anyway, I kind of jumped ahead because I want to talk about money, because that's probably the
Is that what we're
trickiest.
talking about?
No, but really dive into it. Like, listen, you delivered, you've given the stuff, and the worst part is waiting for that payment. So it's something you have to have a conversation with them right away. Like, hey, either you tell them how much it is for the job, and you kind of estimate how much time you're putting in, and you say this package is, I don't know, for example, $3K. Okay. And if you go over your time, well, that's on you. Or you can do a day rate. But make sure that you're comfortable with the way that you're getting paid for this job. And then the hardest part is, how are you getting paid? A lot of things that cleared a lot of headaches for me is I get paid in advance or partial in advance. Because for me, especially when I do my corporate stuff and that, I feel like when people have a little money in the game, they're more cooperative. They've already kind of, invested. They're ready to go. So 50% upfront is really nice. 50% after, that way you're not chasing so much. A full payment upfront is amazing. And give them some options. Like, there's some apps, you can use Stripe. You could do wire transfers. In Canada, we do e-transfers. In the States, you do Venmo. Make it easy for your clients to be able to pay you. Because we've all heard the expression, the check's in the mail. Well, sometimes that check never comes. Then you have to call back and, like, oh, sorry, we never sent it. Oh, we never paid. So when you're giving invoices, give a date, give a due date. Either do immediately, do by 30 days, whatever you're comfortable with, but make sure you outline that, because, you've done a good job. You worked your ass off. You want to make sure you're compensated properly, and nothing is worse than chasing people for money, because it creates tension. It creates tension for you, and it makes you not feel valued, and might make you feel like you don't want to work with that client again. So be upfront with the money talk, because that's very, very important. And when you get paid on time and you get paid properly, it makes it feel rewarding. It makes you want to work with that company again. It makes them know that they value you.
No, it's true. But I think I personally, I don't think I have clients that pay me in advance per se, but I do appreciate a lot more the ones that do pay on time and pay quickly. And more often than not, there are people who either started or still are videographers themselves. Like you, when you hired me, you put me right away. Our friend Jesse did the same thing. Like, I noticed when people have been in this situation, they understand how annoying it is to chase money, because you already have a full-time job. Chasing money is not necessarily part of it, and it becomes very annoying, and it becomes, like you said, awkward, because even if they're clients, they're not necessarily your friends. They're still people that you work with on a regular basis. So to have to chase them and be kind of not mean but tough because you want your money is always a bit of a, yeah, there's a line. It's difficult sometimes to know where to be around that line. But so yeah, so if a client pays you when they're meant to, or very quickly, it's always fun. There's no issues. When the client takes months to pay you, if not sometimes over a year, you tend to either not want to work with them ever again, or what I do is overcharge the next time. So that way it's like, the only way I'm going to work with these people is if I make more money working with them or for them than any other one of my clients, because that way it will be worth it. And also, all that time that I'll spend waiting after my check will be worth it in the end, because there's an extra attached to it. But that's easy to say when you got multiple clients and you can afford to let one go because they're just too much of a pain to work for. But let's say you've got two or three, or even just one, that's your main client. That's the one that, pays most of your bills. Will you let it go just for, out of principle? It's harder to do, obviously.
Yeah, and recurring clients, you can set them up and say like, listen, if you're working for a school team and you're filming for a 6 month contract, say throughout the basketball season, baseball season, whatever, you can have them say, listen, okay, it's going to be a payment first of the month, and you break down the payment for them, and that way it's a retainer deal, and the first of the month you're not chasing. Now, a lot of these nightmares, like E and I have had to chase people for money and had clients that it took months and months to pay. That's usually like a one-off. It's usually the first time you work with them in that. And the second time I work with them, guess what? They're red flag. Like he said, he's going to charge them extra, or you're going to ask for that payment in advance. And you're going to tell them straight up, listen, last time it took 60 days for you to pay your invoice. So this time, let's do it up front or partial payment or whatever.
Well, in my experience, the problem is more with bigger, bigger organizations. If you're dealing with like a smaller sports team or organization of any industry, it's a lot easier to say, okay, to dictate basically how payment is going to happen. But when you're dealing with like big time, like they've got a system in place, and little me is not going to change that system. They're not going to change the way money comes out, because it has to go through finance and this and that, and they make payments on those dates, and they've got much bigger expenses than me that they have to pay first, so I always get skipped and pushed to the next month, and because it's a once a month thing and blah blah. So like, yeah, the bigger the organization, the more complex it is to get paid properly, usually.
What I've learned through being an entrepreneur is whenever I have money issues with clients, I feel, and this is what I try to do, I try to feel like it's my fault. Like I didn't express the terms good enough, or they didn't value me enough. So I really push back. So for example, E, when you and I went on our last work trip, all those clients, uh, all the ones that I worked with previously, all paid in advance. Ones that I didn't work with previously, I let them pay part before and part during. And the reason for that is that I needed that payment right away. And I explained it to them is I'm giving you content live at the event. So usually when you're giving, especially in our industry, when you're giving images or edited videos and they're posting right away, well, they're using it right away. They're seeing the value in it right away. I want my payment right away. But since we had to travel, having that payment ahead of time helped pay for our plane tickets, our hotel, our meals. When I got your invoice, I paid you right away because I already had all that money. So when you are planning these things, think of all that stuff too, and explain to the client why it'd be beneficial to pay 50% ahead of time, full payment, or whatever arrangement you have. Because I did have a client one time that I did all this stuff for. We had an agreement, and it turned out that there was a miscommunication because I'm Canadian, they're American. I was filming an American project. I was billing in US. They thought they were filming in Canadian. So they thought they were getting a deal because of the exchange rate. And that turned into an argument to the point where I was like, listen, do what you got to do. Here's the footage. Pay me this, unless that's it. And I never worked with that client again. But when I looked back on it, because I had a business coach at the time, when I looked back at it, I made the mistake. I wasn't affirmative. I assumed something. They assumed something. So try and communicate as much as possible, because we've been there where sometimes, you're chasing or you're not getting paid what you wanted to because there was a miscommunication. And it's all part of learning and growing. And it's the reality of having a small business or being an entrepreneur is not everyone pays you on time. So try and nip that as fast as you can, because there's nothing worse than chasing for money. There's nothing worse than it. I hate it. I can't stand it. It's the worst feeling ever.
No, definitely. I think it was worse for me when I was in Australia. There was a lot more of it. Well, obviously, I work less with clients now that I did then. Like I had a video production company, but the thing was like, yeah, you're dealing with a lot of teams because over there, I'm working with a lot of different clients, and it's not like here where teams own their venues and own like a full staff. Like there's a lot of freelancers. They don't own venues, so they rent the stadiums per game, all that sort of stuff. So there's all these bills that they accumulate. So my little, video production bill is kind of always lost in the shuffle and not a priority, because if I threat to, not show up because they're not getting paid, life goes on. But if the venue says you can't play here if you don't pay your bill, it's a much bigger situation. So yeah, I wasn't high on the priority list. So therefore, yeah, there was a lot of chasing that was going on over there. I always ended up getting paid, so it's all good. But you do need to have a certain amount of cash flow, which I would recommend to any business. Doesn't necessarily have to be a sports videography. Like, you need a bit of a cash flow to take you through, the periods where all your clients owe you money and you need to pay your bills, or you need to buy something because I don't know, your camera broke or whatever the case may be. Or you just simply need to pay your taxes and things like that. Like, if you don't have any cash flow that like specific to the business, you're always going to be chasing your tail, and you're always going to be chasing your invoices, and that can become annoying as well. If you're always putting pressure on your clients, they find you as annoying as you find them annoying, and it's kind of the beginning of the end. So better to find like a way where everybody's happy, and whether it's like the examples that you gave, or just have enough cash flows that you don't care as much and you can be patient. But yeah, it's money is always the most stressful and annoying part of running a business, whether it's sports videography or anything else.
Yeah. Cash flow solves all your problems. No, and when you are billing, like think about the stuff that you put into it, your equipment, your subscriptions. You have an Adobe subscription, it's $100 a month. You have a G Drive subscription for extra transfers. You might have a Artlist or Motion Array and all that. So make sure when you are billing for your services that you are including those things in it, in your overall bill. Because every video, yes, say my day rate is $1,000, let's just say, but I charge the client $1,200. Well, $200 is for all the accessories, all the other stuff built into my package. So don't just bill what you're doing, bill of everything you're offering to, because you are making the client's life easier when they're not having to look for music licensing. They're not worried about how they're getting their files to you. These are all things, if you have an AI software that can enhance the audio, or you can offer cut up clips with the subtitling all done faster for them. These are all things that you are paying for that add value to to what you're giving them. So save a little bit of room in your budget or in your bill that includes those fees. Like, I'm not saying don't charge them for the actual software, but put a little extra $100 or $150 that pays for all the thing that your company is paying for. And if you do that every month or every bill, that pays for all that stuff. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to turn a profit. And a lot of videographers don't do that. They're like, I'm hired to shoot. This is how much I'm charging to shoot. But they don't put in thought of all the extra expenses it is being a videographer. Like, I'm driving 45 minutes away. So I'm not charging them for travel, but it's included in my fee. I'm stopping to get lunch because I'm doing 2 shoots that day there's 2 games that day. It's double header or something. Well, I'm including that in my fee. So make sure you think of all those things, because there's nothing worse than you go and you do this and it's costing you out of pocket, and then you got to wait 30 days for a payment. Is there anything that you wish the clients kind of knew? Something that you wish the clients actually thought about us, because obviously they don't really think about us, but like, hang on, like,
you're looking for clients, or you're looking for friends?
That's it. No. But I mean, despite all the chaos and all that, is there anything that you feel that you wish the clients understood more about being a solo entrepreneur or a freelance videographer? Because they do sometimes take us for granted.
Yeah, well, I think it's like that in anything, what I mean? Like, and like everything you mentioned throughout this episode could apply to like a plumber, or anyone that comes to your house to do some any type of work. Like, we all sort of want them to show up, do their thing, and leave, and we don't necessarily consider everything they do in the background. It's it is what it is. Um, to me, it probably goes back to the payment, which is what I've been rambling about for the past 25 minutes. But yeah, I just feel like sometimes uh, the people do, and I've been, because I had my video production company, and then eventually sold it and became part of an event company that had basically they use my company as their video production department. So I was still doing the same thing, but under the umbrella of a bigger company, if that makes sense. And so I basically were all of a sudden was part of meetings where people like we had like weekly meetings, and people would say, oh, can we pay this guy or that guy? They've been chasing their invoices for weeks now. Because that's the other thing when you're working with a bigger company, uh when you're invoicing bigger companies, is that the person that hired you is not in charge of the money. Like, if, like, let's say you're a sports videographer, the marketing person or like the media person like hires you as a freelancer, like he puts your invoice and emails it to finance or whatever. Like, it's not his decision to pay or not pay you. So you're emailing that person saying, dude, like, it's been like a month, when am I getting paid, blah blah. All that person can do is just say to finance, so do you know what's going on? And they either do not get a response, or they do, but it's like a bullshit answer, and then they have to try to be nice to you and convince you that everything is going well. And being on the other side of those conversations, I felt like because a lot of times what happens is that that company that hired you, they're big, but not that big. So they have a lot of expenses as well, because they hire people like you, like DJs, like MCs, like whatever. They've got pyrotechnics, like pyros, like they've got all these expenses that go into the event, and that will be paid ultimately by the team. Um, but if they haven't been paid yet, they don't have the cash flow to pay you. So they're waiting for their client to pay them so that they can pay you. And for you, it's very frustrating, because it's like, I can't go to a restaurant and say I'm only going to pay for my meal when my boss pays me on Thursday, and then I'll pay. Like, no, I came in, this is the bill, now I have to pay. So you kind of feel like it's the same thing. If I'm working for you, you should pay me right away. um so yeah, cash flow, like we said, is the answer to everything. If everyone has cash flow, then everyone pays on time. But sometimes, yeah, you don't have the cash flow to pay other people, so it trickles down. And so it just, yeah, if there was a way to just be more respectful. Like, I know when I was running my company, sometimes I was paying, because I would never do that. Like, sometimes I would have like so many invoices. Like, I would have like $75,000 worth of invoices unpaid that I'm chasing, and I'm struggling to pay my employees. And I'm like, so I'm paying them, but now I don't have any money. And it's and you're like, dude, my bank account should be full right now, but there's like $0. And it's like, what's happening? And it's, yeah. So all those struggles is probably the worst thing of having like a successful sort of freelance agency. But other than that, it's all fun.
Other than being poor, it's all fun.
Yeah.
It's hard realizing that money in your corporate account isn't your money. And that's a big challenge, because you'll have finally build it up, and then maybe it's just for us because we're Canadian, but then our government is like, payday, baby, and then you got to pay your taxes and all that, and then you got to pay on time. They don't have to pay you back on time, but you got to pay them on time. The only thing that I wish clients would understand is, listen, I want results as much as you do. I want your video to be a banger. I want you to get views. I want you to get what you want out of that video. As much as you're hiring me, I want it to do well, because if that video does well, I do well. It makes me look good. It makes my company look good. So I wish they would understand that I am as invested in the video, in the process, in all of it as much as they are, maybe even a little more than they are, because my name's on it. My company's on it. I'm looking to get more contracts. I'm looking for people to see that. I'm looking for people to say like, wow, that was good. Who did that? So I don't think that they understand how much we really have in the game. And, that's the only thing I wish that companies and clients would see is like, yo, I want you to do better than you think I do. I want it to be even better than you think.
So you're all looking for friends.
That's it. I'm looking for lots of friends here, man. Friends who hire me, though. Friends who hire me, No.
So you're
all
a
right.
friendship prostitute.
That's it. Anything you want to add before we wrap up here? Or you want to talk about any more cash flow, or what?
Yeah,
You want to put your Venmo number on there so people can send you some cash flow?
No, I think we're good. I've rambled enough.
Anyway, guys, all we want to say is like it's challenging running a small business, running a sports videography business, and being a freelancer. Just keep going and try to find ways to make it easier on you, whether it's with cash flow or whether it's with workflow. All right, well, see you guys next episode. Take care.